Welcome back, gang. It's Delty from Deltia's Gaming. Here trying something new because of your feedback. I'm starting off a new playlist called Best in Slot. The idea behind this is examining different sets in the game Elder Scrolls Online and giving you an idea of how to use them effectively with character builds, different races, and so on. If you want to know more about gear and ESO, this is for you. The first one up I talked about in my previous video is a craftable set called Willow's Path. What might be the dominant set for resource regeneration at all levels. Let's get started. So here we are in Reaper's Mark at one of the 3 crafting locations, and I'm going to show you those in the future. Willow's Path is craftable. It takes 6 traits, so you had to research 6 traits in order to craft one piece of this gear. Now if we look at it, there's a 2, 3, 4, and a 5 piece. Basically it's all recovery. Increased recovery in combat by 15%. The key thing there is it's combat, right? So it may not show up on your tooltip while you're sit there idle, but 15% is a gigantic number. Another reason this is good is because the 15% does not change whether you make it white, green, blue, yellow, whatever color. So if you are low on high quality mats and are struggling with the resources, this is very, very good. Also, that 15% will still apply if you're battle leveled as well. So if you're a lowbie or a non-vet playing in a vet campaign, this is a way to get a leg up on resource generation. So for instance, let's go craft some of this and see what it does to our resources. Alright, here we are at the before screen. So max magic recovery 591, health recovery 400, and 1800 stamina recovery. And that's wearing a 5-piece legendary Night Mother set. So I just got this little sucker crafted. Let's throw these little white tater tots on. Oh, look at that. Yeah, looks great, doesn't it? Okay, so it is showing up in the tooltip. 823, 648, and 2300 recovery. That is outstanding. You can also even augment this further with the new Orsinium food or this food that you can get in Cyrodiil PvP. So let's try this. With this food, it gives me max health plus recovery. I am at 3,000 stamina recovery at endgame. 3,000 people. Look at that. Dodge roll, it's back up to full. Dodge roll, it's up to full in 2 seconds. Don't worry about it. That is an incredible amount of stamina recovery. But let's talk about the downsides of this gear. The downside is it lacks damage. It lacks damage of any kind. So if we go back to my 5-piece of Night Silence, it gives me weapon damage, weapon critical, and reduces targetable physical resistance off critical hits. Essentially what you're doing here is trading resource generation for damage. And as a player in this game, you have to find a balance between resource regeneration and damage, especially if you're going to do PvP. Why? Well, you could have all the resource generation in the world and infinite dodge roll and cloak, but you're not going to kill anyone. You have to find a way to be able to balance that. So here's my suggestions and ways to use this. Number 1, if you're low on champion points, this would be a good set if you're starting off in the game and want to have some good resource balance. Number 2, if you want to use this in PvP to have a lot of resources and survivability, that's great. Make sure that you enchant your jewelry with your primary source of damage. Weapon damage for people that are using weapons as their primary base. And then spell power if you're using spells and or staffs. Enchant them there. Because if you do all recovery on here, you're going to have 3,000 and little to offer in terms of damage, even though I do have 2,400. So it's an ideal set for something like that. Now, what about races, classes, and what should you pair it with? Well, I think this makes a very good set for Nightblades. Why is that, Deltia? Well, let me tell you, Johnny. Refreshing Shadow increases stamina, health, and magic recovery by 15%. Those two stack on top of each other. Yeah, those two stack on top of each other. So 15% passively here, 15% passively for the armor, and then if you use a tri-potion, where do I got any? Yes, I do. Look at this. Major Fortitude, Major Intellect, Major Endurance. So it even gets better. Swallow one of these. I'm at 3,400 stamina recovery. That is a lot. And then if we use our rally, get my weapon damage up, I'm almost at, what, 3,000 weapon damage and 50% critical without the crit buff. Not too bad. Not the greatest, but not too bad either. So remember that potions will stack on this too and give you those major benefits. You can even get the minor with certain classes, but I recommend something to use this with is something that it stacks. So something like this passive, or a race that has stamina regeneration in it. Healthy and stamina regeneration. Now imagine a Bosmer, a 21% stamina regeneration in this, or a high elf. Very, very, very good for resources, but you have to balance resource generation with damage. So for high champion point players, I don't know if this would be that good. Your survivability would be through the charts, but you're sacrificing a lot of damage. For low champion point players, I think this set is fantastic. Finding a balance between damage, and so what's good in terms of damage? Well, I like around 2,000 to 2,500 stamina recovery. If I'm playing in a group, 2,000. I'm playing solo, 2,500, because I'm relying on myself for everything else. Weapon damage needs to be about 3,000 or more buffed. Spell damage, about 2,000 or more buffed. That's how you're going to play this. And if you do those things, I'm telling you right now, this set is fantastic. Now, if you're not on the Aldemary Dominion faction or you can't get here, I'm going to show you the pictures here of where you can craft this stuff. So Reaper's Mark, let's get this one all the way charged up. It's in the bottom south right portion right here. So right where my mouth is. The Virgil, right by Trollhätte. If you're looking at Reaper's Mark, well, we're already here. And then Bankarai for Daggerfall Covenant is the thing. And that's on the east side right here. And so for Aldemary Dominion folks, it's going to be right here. Greenspeaker's Grove and Reaper's Mark. That's how you can craft this stuff and get on anywhere. So I think it's a great set. Personally, I go for more damage, but the survivability is great. And if you also are a tank and have high mitigation and you can spare some, the resource generation would be very, very good for a tank. I wouldn't roll this with the healer because you still need some spell power and max magic in order to heal at high numbers. So that's the set. Guys, if you like this, please like my video. Please subscribe if you want to see more of these type of videos. And in the comments, let me know what sets you want to see. I think the two sets I need to do right off the bat are Hunding's Rage and Julianos, the kind of bread and butter DPS sets. But if you want me to go into more elaborate sets or more basic sets, please let me know. Post in the comments. I read every single one, I promise you. Because I wouldn't be doing this video if it were not for you guys. I'm living the dream because of you. Like, subscribe, share. Thank you so much. Best in slot, baby. How'd you like it?